Hello and welcome to Football Worldwide and this week's episode of European Weekly Catch Up. As Jonathan would put it, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us in the world. This week's episode of European Weekly Catch Up is jam-packed. Before we get into it, guys, let's just cut the formalities out nice and early. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And always remember, we will include timestamps in these videos to make it easier for you so you can fly through to the league you want, or if you want to go back and watch something. But guys, we have a jam-packed episode today. I'm going to do sort of a speed run here. So we want to get straight into it without further ado. So let's do exactly that. And our first cab off the rank, as always, is the English Premier League. And yes, this week was an amazing week in the English Premier League. Chelsea started the league the weekend in first place, finished in third, with results not going their way. So let's get straight into it. First cab off the rank was West Ham, who defeated Chelsea 3-2. Newcastle got their win over Burnley 1-0 there. The Wolves, they struggled against Liverpool, in Liverpool getting that very late 1-0 win there. Southampton and Brighton shared the spoils in what was a 1-1 draw. Watford were not good enough for Manchester City, losing 3-1. Leeds and Brentford, well, it was a goals galore, but a 2-2 draw. Nothing could split them there. Manchester United under Rolf Rangnick got the job done with a beautiful Fred goal, winning 1-0 over Crystal Palace. Tottenham had the Conte effect. Everything was going Norwich's way, but they just could not get the goals, and Tottenham walked away 3-0 victors there. Aston Villa looking great under Stevie G, winning 2-1 against Leicester City. And Everton, way too strong, although 2 goals were ruled out, defeating Arsenal 2-1. But let's just get straight into it. So in this fixture, I think the main one we want to talk about is the Chelsea West Ham fixture. West Ham were just too strong, and you could put it down to fatigue. Chelsea have had an amazing amount of games to be played over the last couple of weeks. If they're not playing Champions League midweek, they've been playing FA Cup, or if they've been playing the English Premier League, and that was the case last week. But Chelsea did hit the lead well early on with a beautiful header by Thiago Silva. He was unmarked in the box during a corner. But then Jorginho, another bad pass and another costly error led to a penalty for Chelsea. He passed the ball back to Mendy. Mendy on the ground tried to clear it, but took out the West Ham attacker, and Lanzini converted the penalty. Then 4 minutes later, it was an amazing build-up play, an amazing cross, and an even better volley. Mason Mount put Chelsea ahead 2-1. After going into the break, they came out at halftime, and it was just all West Ham. West Ham. And Bowen and Musuaku got the 2 goals to give West Ham the 3-2 win over Chelsea. But you got to ask yourself the question, what is happening with Chelsea and what is happening with Tuchel's team? Well, it just seems that there is too much going on for Chelsea at the moment. And we spoke about it earlier on when Werner and Lukaku both got injured, and it just feels that this is starting to take effect. Now, most recently, as this morning here in Australia, Chelsea dropped points against Zenit St. Petersburg in a 3-3 draw there, and it led to them not even finishing top of their group in the Champions League, meaning they're in pot 2. So they were very late goal there for Zenit. But again, Werner and Lukaku getting on the score sheet in that Champions League fixture, which shows their prowess in front of goal. But it was just one of those games where You don't know what's happening with Chelsea at the moment. Are they burning out? We've seen this with a lot of teams across Europe. But overall, the same could be said for Manchester City and the same could be said for Liverpool, but they all got the job done. Another honourable mention's got to go to Rolf Ragnick. He got the team in order for their win as his first game as manager of Manchester United, with Fred, of all players, getting the goal that was decisive at the end of the day. Liverpool, like I mentioned earlier, they did leave it late, and Manchester City are just way too clinical. Here we have two teams, Manchester City and Chelsea, who at the beginning of the season, we did predict they would be fighting it out at the end of the season. But there were two criticisms going into this, and one of them being City have no number 9, but they seem to be getting the goals. And they seem to be scoring these goals no matter what without their number 9. Bernardo Silva has definitely stepped up. Now they've taken the lead within the Premier League. You could really say that this squad could potentially go on and not drop many points to win the league this season. They've gotten points against United, all 3 points against United and Chelsea and West Ham, and they got 1 point against Liverpool in what was an amazing 2-2 draw there. So you really think the ball's in City's court. Now, City did finish first in the Champions League group, which was beneficial to them, but it just shows that there is a lot happening within this scope. So with the draw of the Champions League coming out, it will determine how a lot of teams go. Without Champions League until the 16th of February, we are looking at just domestic football. So this does play into the hands of these league leaders across all of the 5 leagues, because they no longer have to worry about what's happening in the retrospect of international duties, European duties. They can just focus solely on what is the domestic league. So you will see a lot of tables shifting, changing, and the leaders getting stronger and breaking away. Right now, there is 2 points between first and third, with City 1 point to Liverpool, then 1 point to Chelsea. But that was what capped off an amazing weekend in the English Premier League. So let's move on to the Serie A. And like always, let's get straight into it. We had Milan, who took all 3 points, defeating Salernitana 2-0. Roma were not good enough at home, losing 3-0 to Inter. And what a game that was. Inter were leading 3-0 at halftime and failed to add any more after the break, but they didn't need to. League leaders Napoli went into the week in first place, came out of the week in third place. They chucked to Chelsea. They lost 3-2 to Atalanta. Bologna were not good enough for Fiorentina, who walked away 3-2 victors there. Venezia and Verona played out an amazing 7-goal thriller, with Verona walking away 4-3 victors there. Spezia and Sassuolo, 4 goals between them. They shared the spoils in what was a 2-2 draw. Another 4-game thriller in Lazio Sampdoria, with Lazio winning 3-1 there. Juventus getting back into the winners column, winning 2-0 against Genoa. Empoli were too strong against Udinese, winning 3-1. And Cagliari Torino shared the spoils in what was a 1-1 draw there. But let's get straight into what was the fixture of the round, and I got to give it to. There was a couple of good ones. I was tossing and turning between Roma and Inter, but the boys at Inter Worldwide covered that off really well. But league leaders Napoli, like I said, they chucked the Chelsea, went in leading, left in third place, and it was at the hands of fourth place and high-flying Atalanta. What a game it was. Atalanta, Malinovsky, they took the early lead after 7 minutes. And right before halftime, Zielinski got Napoli on level terms. Straight after the break, Mertens makes it 2-1 Napoli. And you just thought this was going to go the way of Napoli, but it wasn't the case. Demirial and Fiore getting the 2 goals to give Atalanta that 3-2 win. We've said it on multiple occasions what's happened at Napoli, but history has told us what's happened with Spalletti and whenever he's taken over a league and a team, and when it comes to December, he starts dropping those points. For the sake of the league and for the sake of Napoli, I hope that this isn't the case. Look, criticism can be dealt out non-stop when it comes to playing domestically, but overall, I just feel this Atalanta squad are playing phenomenal football at the moment. And the more and more you look at it, it is just amazing. And Atalanta have cut the gap down to 2 points between third and fourth. So they're 2 points behind Napoli. And they are 7 points ahead of fifth place Juventus. So they are playing extremely phenomenal football at the moment, which is, great to see. Everyone said that this Atalanta team will start to burn out. This Atalanta team, they're black horses. They're not going to be around. They're having one-off good seasons, but time and time again, they just seem to prove that they are here for the long haul. They're not here to leave, but it will be interesting. Napoli really do need to bounce back, especially after what happened this week. And they've got a couple of tough fixtures coming up. So it will be interesting to say the least. They do face lowly placed Empoli this weekend, which will be in their favor if they want to continue to gain momentum. But it will be one of those things where you're looking at the squads and you just think, Napoli, they should be doing well, and Spalletti's done amazing things with this squad, but we just need to see how it ends up going when it comes down to it. The back end of the season's when it really matters. So a couple of hiccups here and there shouldn't make that big of a difference, but with the league as condensed as what it is, it would be interesting to see how Napoli progress, and especially with Milan, who are flying high, just finished last place in the Champions League. So they've got all their attention now focused on the Serie A. You have Inter, who finished in second place in the Champions League, but don't have to worry about what's happening until February, so they can focus on the Serie A as well. So the last year's first and second place are where they were last year, except this time around the positions have flipped. AC Milan in top and Inter Milan are second. So it will be very interesting to see what happens with the league as they proceed. As we move on to the next league, that La Liga, and we pull up this week's match day results. Match day 16, and Granada kicked it off with a 2-1 win over Alaves. Sevilla were too strong for Villarreal, winning 1-0 there. Barcelona at home lost 1-0 to Real Betis. Atletico Madrid also lost at home to Mallorca 2-1 there. Real Sociedad, we were talking them up many a times, but they fell at the hurdle of Real Madrid, losing 2-0 there. Real Vallecano lost 1-0 to Espanyol. Elche were way too strong for Cadiz, winning 3-1. Levante and Osasuna shared the spoils in what was a 0-0 draw. Celta Vigo were not strong enough for Valencia, losing 2-1 there. Getafe and Atletico Bilbao shared the spoils in what was a 0-0 draw. But you just got to give credit where credit's due here. Real Madrid, they've extended their league to 8 points, albeit Sevilla, who are in second place, have a game in hand, but this Real Madrid team are phenomenal. They just defeated Inter Milan on the Champions League to top the group 2-0 there. But against Real Sociedad, it never looked in doubt. Both goals coming in the second half, though. Vinicius Junior, that he got his goal, and Jovic, who came on to replace the injured Benzema after 15, I think, or no, 17 minutes it was. He got a goal as well. So it will be very interesting to see how this Real Madrid team excel and progress without the likes of Benzema. But as we saw in this fixture, as well as the Champions League fixture against Inter, they seem to have the game covered. And they seem to have that type of thing covered in that retrospect with their quality on the pitch is just second to none. And the way they're going at the moment, you can really see them running away with the league and running away with what is what we thought would have been a much more competitive position. But rumors have that Mbappe might be joining Haaland. There are rumors of all these players potentially joining, and with Real Madrid being the team they are at the moment, I cannot say any of these rumors can be dispelled, especially with their amazing prowess and their history that's behind them. They've got an extremely rich history. So it's one of those things where you really can allude a lot of players to your squad. But yeah, look, Barcelona under Xavi, they're not getting the job done. They are knocked out of the Champions League for the first time in 21 years. They've been knocked out in the group stage after succumbing to Benfica. But succumbing second spot to Benfica, but ultimately losing 3-0 to Bayern Munich. But yeah, like always, it was an interesting battle there. But you really got to think that their strongest competitors in Atletico Madrid, they're just not getting the job done, and they're dropping silly points, which is allowing Real Madrid to excel and expand. We've criticized them. We've said they're not the team they once were, but they seem to be getting the job done in what is a very underwhelming and underperforming La Liga. As we move on to Germany and cover the Bundesliga, and we pull up the results for what was match day 14. Union Berlin defeated RB Leipzig 2-1. Hoffenheim were too strong for Frankfurt, winning 3-2 there. Augsburg and Bochum did not share the spoils, sorry. Augsburg and Bochum went to a 3-2 win for Bochum. Leverkusen were far too strong, scoring 7, winning 7-1 there. Arminia Bielefeld and Holm shed the spoils in what was a 1-all draw. Mainz defeated Wolfsburg 3-0. Dortmund and Bayern, what would have been the game of the week across all 5 leagues, was a 5-goal thriller with Bayern Munich overcoming any hurdles there. Stuttgart and Hertha Berlin shared the spoils in a 2-all draw, and Freiburg were far too strong, scoring 6 first-half goals against Mönchengladbach. And they ended up finishing that game 6-1 victors there. So as we look at what was the game of the week here, in Borussia Dortmund and Bayern Munich, look, Brandt, he opened the goal scoring very early on after 5 minutes. And it was one of those things where you thought Dortmund may just hold out, but less than 5 minutes later, Lewandowski gets his token goal. And then Koeman makes it 2-1 at halftime. Haaland gets his token goal, makes it 2-2 before a penalty was awarded to Bayern Munich, and Lewandowski converted on the spot there, which, you know what, should come to no surprise. This Bayern Munich team were leading by 1 point, and they extended that lead to 4 points now. But it's just one of those amazing seasons for this Bayern Munich team. They finished the Champions League, I believe, unbeaten. I do believe they finished the Champions League. Well, I know they finished the Champions League unbeaten on a perfect 18 points. You know, they were dominant across all aspects of the game there. They just did extremely well, and you really got to say something amazing has got to happen to this squad in order for them to start dropping, you know, more points in order to lose the domestic league. But it's just phenomenal performance after phenomenal performance when it comes to Germany and Bayern Munich. As we move on to the French Ligue 1, and what was an interesting weekend of football as we move into it. Agnes were not good enough against Monaco, losing 3-1. Metz again were not good enough against Montpellier, losing 3-1. Strasbourg were way too strong for Bordeaux, defeating them 5-2. Troyes defeated Lorient 2-0. Brest were way too strong for Saint-Étienne, winning 1-0 there. Clermont-Foot and Lens shared the spoils in what was a 2-all draw. Nantes were lost to Marseille 1-0. Lille former champs, defeated second place Rennes 2-1. Lyon succumbed to Reims, losing 2-1 there. And what was an interesting game and what many picked to be a great game for this week in the French Ligue 1 is PSG, who drew 0-0 with Nice, and let's get straight into that. So overall, they dropped another 2 points, PSG, and that still keeps them 11 points clear at the top of the table. It's phenomenal. They are not having the best games there, but that was match day 16. As we move forward into what is match day 17, and I don't actually have those, so I'm just going to read it straight off the bat here. Marseille were not good enough against Brest. Lille defeated Troyes 2-1. Lens and PSG shared the spoils in a 1-1 draw. So 2 games, 2 draws for PSG. Saint-Etienne were not good enough, and they were defeated by Rennes 5-0. Lorient were not good enough and lost to Nantes 1-0. Monaco too strong for Metz, defeating them 4-0. Montpellier defeated Clermont-Foot 1-0. Reims lost to Agnes 2-1. Nice struggled against Strasbourg, who won 3-0. And Bordeaux and Lyon shared the spoils in what was a 2-2 draw. But again, PSG, we had a very late goal at the likes of Wijnaldum to give them the 1-1 draw. Came in the 92nd minute. But the story's got to be in this squad at the moment. This PSG squad, they're lacking a lot. And we've said it time and time again. You know, Mbappe came on, Wijnaldum came on. But Ramos played one game, got injured. But is it going to hamper them? They're still 11 points clear at the top. So you really got to say this team is far too strong for the league, but they are leaking points. They finished second in the Champions League group, so they go into pot 2, which really does spice things up for pot 1. And, you know, that's one team that a lot of teams will want to avoid when it comes to the Champions League group draw. But really got to say, it's going to be an interesting run home because everyone below PSG drops points. And what happens there is it really doesn't make a big dent in their title aspirations, especially when they're dropping points, but the rest of the league can also be counted on to drop points. So you can't say any other narrative than PSG running away with the championship this week. That is, especially considering the pedigree that they do have when it comes to this sort of aspect. But let's move into our ones to watch, where this week I am taking it to the English Premier League. We have a beautiful matchup between Liverpool and Aston Villa. Stevie G returning to face his club, his former club, but this time as a manager. So, you got to think the fans will be loving what's happening there. It will be extremely interesting to say the least when it comes to this game. It's one of those things where you really just got to say to yourself, Aston Villa could potentially be taking points here because they're on high flying form. So that is my ones to watch this week. And around the grounds, where we pick a fixture outside of Europe's top 5 leagues and we bring it to you. This time, I am taking it very far, far away from Europe, and I am bringing it to Australia, where we have the Battle of Western Sydney, the Western Sydney Wanderers, who are playing Macarthur FC. It will be an extremely interesting game. So, guys, don't forget to check that out, and we will be back with you on another episode of Football Worldwide. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you on the other side. Ciao.